health diet, dietary supplements, and herbal medicine. It's one of the Healthy Living series sponsored by SECCA. The program is brought to you by the corporations of SECCA, and along with UCI and Monty J, as well as Legacy Fountain Angel. We're happy to see you here. Hopefully you will gain insights that will be beneficial to your health. Today, our speaker is Dr. Lin, Professor Xin Lin. He is a professor in UC Irvine, Integrated Medicine, Cell Biology, and Biomedical Engineering. He also served on U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, as well as National Advisory Council for Complementary Medicine and Integrated Health. And Dr. Lin is a faculty member of Susan Semmelweis Center of Integrated Medicine at UCI. He's a visiting professor in Shanghai University of Traditional Chinese Medicine and City University of Hong Kong. And he's collaborating scientist at Institute of Chinese Medicine, Chinese University of Hong Kong. And he served as editorial board, Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine. He also served on editorial boards of Chinese medicine. And without further ado, let's welcome Professor Dr. Lin.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Before I start, I just want to have a show of hands. How many of you attended my first presentation on principles of integrated medicine way back in April? Okay. All right. How many of you have been coming to the Tai Chi, Qigong, Kung Fu? Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. So, just as a preview, tonight, of course, is healthy diet, dietary supplements, and herbal medicine. Once a month, on the first Monday of the month. So, the November one is meridians, acupuncture points, and therapeutic massage. Unlike tonight, which would be strictly a lecture with discussion afterwards, this one, I will present a lecture on the latest research showing what are acupuncture points, what are meridians, how does acupuncture work, whether by needle or by massage or by electrical pulses. Then I will, in the final hour or so, teach you techniques where you can use yourself, including finger pressure stimulation of the points, electrical stimulation of the points, laser stimulation of the points, and so forth. So that will be a lecture plus, hands-on learning session. The one in December is integration and convergence of Eastern and Western medicine. That is a strictly lecture presentation, giving you the latest research on, using Western methods to study Chinese medicine, and also how Chinese medicine and how Western medicine is converging towards many of the principles of Chinese medicine, ending up with discussion of how to integrate Eastern and Western therapies for common diseases like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and so forth. And then the last one of this series is next year already, January. Career paths in the healthcare professions. That is intended for two types of audiences. One is for those of you who may wonder, wow, there are MDs and there are Oriental medicine doctors and there are, naturopathic doctors and homeopathic doctors and who are these people? How are they trained? Who should I go see? And what are their strengths and limitations? So it will discuss, in some detail those aspects. But also, if you have younger generation, like your children or younger people you know who are now in high school or in college, and they are not quite sure, what profession to get into. They seem to drift towards health sciences. This would be a good discussion for them in terms of what to aim for and so forth. Okay, so those are things that are coming up. Now, so for tonight, the goal of my presentation is not to push or sell to you a particular diet. I'm not here to sell the Atkins diet or the South Beach diet or the Mediterranean diet. Okay. This whole thing is a science-based, presentation. So what I hope to give you are the latest scientific principles that could empower you to make intelligent decisions now and in the future of how to eat properly, what type of supplements to take and not to take for healthy living. To give you the knowledge base so that you can use for the rest of your life, not just like tonight, because things change all the time. We read the newspaper, things, all these articles, it's good for you, it's bad for you, good for you, bad for you, and all the emails you get every day, right, from people who you may or may not even know, saying, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Okay, so I'm trying to give you the knowledge base so you can decide yourself, now and in the future, what's going to be good and what's not. So the outline of tonight's presentation, I'll start with, because from the show of hands, there's still quite a few of you who did not get the knowledge base from my first presentation on the principles of evidence-based integrated medicine and health. So bear with me if you've heard this before. About 15 minutes worth of review of these basic principles, and they are quite relevant to the rest of the talk. Okay. Because if we're all on the same wavelength, it's easier to understand the rest of the talk. Then I will talk about the scientific principles for choosing a healthy diet, okay, your everyday diet. About an hour from now, we'll have a 10-minute break. Then we will continue on, first of all, federal regulations and use in the United States of dietary supplements. That's something that you need to understand to be able to interpret many of the things that you will read about. And then finally, scientific principles for choosing dietary supplements. What's good, what's perhaps not so good. And we may run to 2 hours, so Q&A, if you can hold your questions till afterwards. I'll stay here as long as the place is open until 10 o'clock, but I hope to finish by 9:30. Okay? So, first, principles of evidence-based integrated medicine and health. Well, you might ask, why is it so difficult to determine whether something is good or bad for you? Why is it that you get these emails every day saying it's good, it's bad, it's good, bad? Okay? Well, it's the placebo effect. See, as long as you believe anything could be good for you, even if it's just nothing but sugar and water, if you believe it's a medicine that's good for you, it will do you much benefit. The opposite is also true. As long as you believe anything could be bad for you, that's called the nocebo effect. Okay? 安慰剂 and 反安慰剂. So, now the placebo effect, okay, most of you know this in terms of, painkillers and things. Actually, the placebo effect is pervasive. A study of the literature for the past 50, 60 years, there are countless articles, research articles on the placebo effect affecting many things, anywhere from asthma attacks to hay fever, coughs, mental anxiety, pain, certainly, seasickness, insomnia, many things, fever, gastric functions, diabetic, conditions. Just about anything you can think of, the placebo effect is there. So certainly, in terms of what you eat, if you think it's good, it'll do you some good. If you think it's bad, well, it's not going to do you any good. So that settles a lot of things, because a lot of people just say, oh, this really works for me. Well, you said, well, how could that be? Well, if they believe, then it will be good for them. So in terms of determining whether something is good or bad for you, within the context of food and dietary supplements, the gold standard is the randomized controlled trial. Okay, 随机对应实验. Very simple. You have to take care of the placebo effect, or take into account the placebo effect. So typically, in a group of test subjects, you have one group that doesn't take the stuff at all, okay? One group that takes the stuff to be tested, and then you need a group that takes something that, looks like it, but it's really not. Usually it's something inert, like, sugar pill or some just nothing, or starch pill. And to be able to prove that this, thing, whether it's a dietary supplement or a medicine, is good for you, you have to have better outcome than the placebo group. Otherwise, it's just all in your head, okay? So that's the gold standard. To be able to say that something is really good for you, okay, not just in your head, you need to have this type of randomized controlled trial done on you. Now, so you will say, okay, well, that's good. So why don't we test everything by randomized controlled trials? Well, this format has some serious limitations. First of all, it's very expensive to conduct a randomized controlled trial. So typically, if you need a big enough sample to have enough statistical power, you're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of people, and that would take millions and millions of dollars, even if the trial lasts 6 months, okay? So right there, randomized controlled trials do not tell you about long-term effects, because to hold a trial for 6 months will cost you a lot of money. So hardly anything lasts more than 6 months, so maybe even a year. But a lot of things, when we talk about good and bad for your health and longevity, you're talking about decades. So randomized controlled trials won't really tell you that. So to get over that limitation, a lot of things I talk to you about has to do with what's called observational studies. So there, you don't pick out a group of people and assign them, you take this, you don't take this, you take the placebo. No, you just sit back and watch. So prospective observational trial is you just say, all right, well, all the people who live in Laguna Woods, okay, so for the next 30 years, okay, we'll follow these people who live in leisure world, okay, and we know ahead of time who takes vitamin pills, who don't take vitamin pills, and 30 years later, we'll see who lives longer, okay? We're not forcing them to take vitamin pills, we just follow and observe. Retrospective is like looking back and just say, all right, well, let's look back and all the people, for the last 30 years who took the pills, what happened to them. So that you can get long-term results, and you can have a much bigger sample size. You can look at, tens of thousands of people. On the other hand, randomized controlled trial also has a limitation of usually, okay, taking away complicating factors. So when they test a medicine on a group of people, they will tell these people not to take any other medicine. Okay, don't take anything else. If you have high blood pressure, stay off high blood pressure, medicine, and get acupuncture instead. Okay, that's what happened at the UCI trial. Okay, and that's kind of difficult. But sometimes, people don't take any medicine, but taking some herbal medicine on the side, and you don't know. But you tell them, don't take anything else. Okay, but in the real world, people actually use medicine and something else. So oftentimes there are like drug-drug interaction or herb-drug interaction that's not explored in these randomized controlled trials. In observational trials, it's like more of a real-world situation, So people take medicine, they also, take these dietary supplements and herbal medicine, and so you can go back and see, well, what happened if you do this, what happened if you do that. Now, even the big trials, okay, like acupuncture trial done in Germany, funded by the insurance companies in Germany, they included 10,000 subjects, okay? But, 10,000 is still a small percentage of the, 100 million people in Germany, okay? So when you want to extend those observations to the whole country, is problematic. So to get over that, we rely on meta-analysis and systematic reviews. There, you have a panel of top experts, paid or unpaid, okay, and they would systematically look at every single trial, okay, ever done on this drug or treatment. So when each trial could be like a few hundred people here, a few hundred people, when you look at every single trial, then you can get up to the tens of thousands of people. And these experts will evaluate the data from all these trials and weigh them. This trial is done well, this is not so well, this is done really well, this is garbage, okay? So they weigh the results, and then they come up with an expert opinion saying that, well, when you take into account all these trials with tens of thousands of people added together, this thing works or doesn't work, okay? Sometimes these are published, by a panel of experts in a prestigious journal or in a database called like the Cochrane Review, or it could be, the National Academy of Sciences. Okay, they make a recommendation, or my experience, like the National Advisory Council on Complementary and Alternative Medicine. We make recommendations based on studying a lot of data. So, okay, so very quick review on the basic principles on integrative medicine and health as evidence-based. Okay, those are the gold standards. So next, we move on to the meat of the talk. Principles for choosing a healthy diet. So like I said, I'm not here to sell you a diet. I'm presenting to you the principles based on scientific evidence that will allow you to choose yourself what's good and what's not. So first, in Chinese medicine, we often say the best doctor is the one you see before you get sick. Okay? We've been saying that for thousands of years. In the 21st century, Western medicine is using the term preventive medicine. Okay? So they're getting it too. And there's a word that's not actually in the dictionary, English word. It stands for the Chinese word hu. This term is not really in the Oxford Dictionary. It's called tonify, from the word tonic, hu. It means to strengthen, okay, like your body to avoid dysfunction and disease. Hu, okay. So, that's the key to preventive medicine, right? Build yourself up so that you don't get sick, so that things can break down, things will work properly. And then the key principle here in Chinese medicine is 药补不如食补. To quantify with medicine is not as good as with food. Okay? So this is a central theme that I will come back again and again. I was at the Guangdong province for traditional Chinese medicine hospital. This is a 40-story skyscraper, huge building. And on 1 or 2 or 3 of the floors, they have 治胃病中心, okay, pre-sickness therapy center. They sound like oxymoron, but it gives you the spirit of what I'm talking about. So, getting back to the topic is, I want to discuss the diet first, because the diet is most important. Dietary supplements, they supplement the diet, but if you eat a good diet, you may not need the supplements, you see? So, here are the major principles of what makes up a healthy diet. Number 1, you want to eat a diet that's anti-inflammatory. Inflammatory is yan, okay? Oh, wait a minute, I've never heard of a diet that's inflammatory. I thought to get inflammation, you have to be infected or suffer an injury. How could a diet be inflammatory, So, inflammation needs a little bit of